Imagine you're one of the last people alive who can read both Greek and Latin. You're sitting in a Roman library, racing to translate the greatest works of human thought before they're lost forever. And then soldiers come for you. Boethius never finished, and the Western world wouldn't recover what he lost for over 600 years. Boethius, born around 480 AD, was one of the last Westerners fluent in both Greek and Latin. He lived in a world that still looked Roman on the surface, libraries with alabaster windows, shelves of papyrus scrolls, but the empire had already fallen. Germanic kings ruled Italy. The old institutions were hollowing out. Boethius set himself an extraordinary task: translate the complete works of Plato and Aristotle into Latin so the Latin-speaking world could access Greek philosophy directly. He never came close. The Ostrogothic king Theodoric arrested Boethius on suspicion of treason. He was tortured and executed in 524. He completed only introductory logic, textbooks, and fragments, a tiny fraction of what he'd planned. Look at the scale of the loss. Boethius intended to translate over 36 dialogues of Plato and over 30 treatises of Aristotle. What survived? A handful of introductory texts. The medieval West was cut off from the full body of Greek philosophy for the next 6 centuries. The intellectual lights didn't go out all at once, but they dimmed decisively. Boethius tried to save knowledge by translating it. He was killed before he could finish. A generation later, another man tried a different approach. Cassiodorus, born around 490, lived long enough to see the old world truly ending. He served as a Roman senator under Gothic kings, watched the last institutions crumble, and made a choice. He became a monk. Around 554, he founded the monastery of Vivarium in southern Italy, and he gave it a mission no monastery had carried before. At Vivarium, monks didn't just pray. They copied texts, they studied. This was Cassiodorus' key innovation, joining monasticism to the preservation of learning. Before him, monasteries were about spiritual discipline, fasting, prayer, manual labor. After him, they became the libraries and universities of the early medieval world. Cassiodorus organized classical learning into a structured curriculum, 7 subjects divided into 2 tiers, and gave it a new purpose. Not the love of learning for its own sake, something far more practical. He made classical education a tool for understanding the Bible. But what exactly did Cassiodorus' curriculum look like? And why these 7 subjects? The 7 liberal arts, and liberal here means befitting a free person, not politically liberal, were divided into 2 tiers. The foundation was the Trivium, Latin for 3 roads: grammar, logic, rhetoric. These are the arts of language: how to read a text, how to reason through an argument, how to understand persuasion. A quick etymological note: the word trivial comes from trivium. These were the introductory elementary subjects. Above the trivium sat the quadrivium, the 4 roads: arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and music. These were the higher sciences, the arts of number and the cosmos. One crucial clarification: music in this system was not what we think of as music. No singing, no instruments, no performance. It was the mathematical study of intervals, ratios, and modes. Think Pythagoras, not a concert hall. Music was a branch of mathematics, the science of proportion and harmony expressed in numbers. The trivium gave you language. The quadrivium gave you the structure of the universe. Together, they pointed toward a single goal. Here's the crucial nuance most people miss. Cassiodorus and his contemporaries, including Augustine before him, did not preserve classical learning because they loved it for its own sake. Pagan philosophy was suspect. Pagan literature was dangerous. The justification was entirely instrumental. The Bible is not a text that makes perfect literal sense everywhere. It's figurative, it's prophetic, it uses metaphor, allegory, number symbolism, astronomical references, and complex rhetorical structures. Each art served a specific interpretive need. Grammar let you parse the literal text. Logic let you resolve apparent contradictions between passages. Rhetoric let you recognize figurative and persuasive language. Arithmetic decoded the number symbolism. Why the Bible uses 7, 12, 40 so deliberately. Geometry handled spatial and proportional references. Astronomy made sense of cosmic and prophetic imagery. And music, mathematical music, revealed the harmony, proportion, and the divine order woven through creation itself. The liberal arts were tools for reading the Bible, not ends in themselves. Cassiodorus' framework became the model for education in the medieval West. When cathedral schools emerged centuries later, they taught the Trivium and Quadrivium. When the first universities formed in the 12th and 13th centuries, they built on this same foundation. The irony is sharp. By packaging classical learning as a servant of theology, Cassiodorus ensured its survival. If he'd argued for learning for its own sake, the monasteries might never have adopted it. Boethius tried to save knowledge by translating it. He failed, killed by politics. Cassiodorus saved knowledge by rebranding it, making it useful to the church. He succeeded. The next time someone calls something trivial, remember that word comes from the foundation of Western education, grammar, logic, rhetoric, the tools that kept civilization's lights on through the darkest centuries.